Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again. Got a quick video on a couple of games I've been playing for the past couple of weeks, and it's just another two games that I'd say are pretty similar in the style and genre of Vampire Survivors that should be good for a few days of gameplay and only cost about $4. The first one of which is Halls of Torment, and the second one is Brotato. Halls of Torment, this is the first one to talk about for a few minutes, is in my mind, very, very similar to Vampire Survivors, almost basically a clone. But it's got its own sort of style, it's got its own little bits of scaling and new abilities and different sort of few extra mechanics. Overall though, it is essentially just going to be Vampire Survivors. If you liked playing Vampire Survivors, then this is a bit more of the same. Consider it like a DLC even. Like you just buy it, start up another account or character thing to progress on, and slowly and surely you will gain a few traits, perks, whatever you want to call them, as well as gear, and go through the game, fight your way through, hopefully start beating some runs, unlock some characters, unlock some gear, unlock some skills, and figure out what the hell you're doing and turn it into what is pretty similar to what Vampire Survivors turns into at the end, an absolute clusterfuck. So we'll probably not talk anymore about Vampire Survivors for it. It is its kind of own thing, and I had my fun for the $4 or so that it was worth, and it's got its own difference for the most part in that you can gear up an entire character with various pieces of gear, and some of them are pretty damn game-changing, so it does become a bit of an experimentation process, but it's a lot of fun to just get more powerful, try out new heroes, new abilities, and slowly become an absolute powerhouse. There are 3 levels to go through, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but it does have some good replayability just because you are trying your best to try out new skills, get more powerful with those skills, and also there's a good amount of classes that have different starting skills and overall different perks and traits to go with. So you do start out pretty weak as always, and then as you start gearing up and completing runs, getting more traits, then it gets a lot easier to complete runs. There are a few bosses here or there, of course, just like the other games, and there's a bunch of achievements. They're called quests that you're supposed to do. That's what gives you a few extra things like gold and unlocks your characters and stuff. They're called quests, but they're basically just achievements. So you will have a look at the achievements in town or the quests and then see what you need to do and then work your way towards doing them. I'd say typically people are getting about 20 to 30 hours worth of playtime out of this game towards 100% completing or putting it down, and I'd say it's pretty worth your $4. I liked it more personally than Brotato, but a lot of people are leaning the other way. So this is the other game that I've been playing a little bit as well, and it's called Brotato. It's not really the exact same type of thing, but it feels like the same genre to me, which is, I'm going to call something like reverse bullet hell. You start out as a little potato thing. There are a lot of different classes to choose from, so they just have a big difference in their starting trait. There's a lot of weapons to pick from, and then there's up to 5 difficulties, and the goal is to get to difficulty 5, which is the hardest, unlocking that, and then the end goal is basically beat difficulty 5 with every single character, class, trait, whatever you want to call it. It starts out as wave 1, you're in a, I guess, field as a potato, and goes up to wave 20, and it gets progressively more intense. You of course have perks that you get as you level up. You have weapons and stuff that you can buy, and it's a pretty deep game for what it is. On the surface it doesn't look too complex. You're just running around and using auto attacks or auto fire with your character, and it attacks things that are near you, but there are some mechanics, there are some weapons that take some figuring out, and it does get pretty challenging in the later waves, and it does get pretty challenging at trying to do the danger 5 on certain classes with certain weapons, etc. It's been pretty tough. I got my first win on every danger up till 5, and then I think it took me 2 goes to get a danger 5 run done. You can see it gets pretty intense in the end, and you can like scale up to pretty powerful levels. So even though to begin with it's always going to be a bit easy and a little, you know, slow, eventually you can have a very powerful character, and if you really want, you can go into endless mode as well, really test your character. So you can see this one, I think it went all the way through danger 5, which was the highest level of completion. By the time it got powered up, it could damn near just stand around and do whatever it wanted. This actually seems to be a pretty rare case, unless you're using a very powerful setup or a very powerful trait to begin with. It seems to be pretty rare, because beyond this point I've played maybe another 5-10 hours and haven't really come close to replicating this level of success thus far. I've been doing some other challenge runs and some other classes and characters, and yeah, as you can see, it can definitely get pretty tough, pretty overwhelming, and I'd say it's rather fun in that it can certainly test your micro as well. Typically, if you're doing well enough and scaling well enough, the micro shouldn't factor into it too much, but once you're struggling and when you're just trying to get by, then the micro definitely makes a lot of difference. You stop starting, you're dodging, and it's a pretty fun game. Like, it started out a bit slow for me, didn't get too hooked, but once you start unlocking some characters and trying to figure out the scalings and do different weapons and all that, it does get a bit more addictive. A lot of people play it until they've completed danger 5 on all the heroes, all the characters. I don't think that's ever going to happen for me. I'm not that hooked into it, but it was a bit of fun, and that's actually one thing I also forgot to mention about Halls of Torment. Compared to Vampire Survivors, it felt like your micro did matter a bit more, because as opposed to just turning into a complete clusterfuck at the end, you still, for the most part of the game, have to do a bit of manual dodging, stutter stepping, etc. Either way, that's the 2 games I've been playing, just a bit on the side outside of Diablo 4. A few streams here or there have happened. If you want to check the VODs for these games, by all means. They're fun. I'd say they're worth their money. They don't cost very much, and it's definitely something you can do before ExileCon, after ExileCon, before PoE. I have a feeling we've got some really big PoE coming up in the next, well, ExileCon and then New League. Until then, there's plenty of other things we can do as well. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time.